We're from Team Ecclesia, and I bring you a deck profile from Nathaniel Manning. What did you do, Nathaniel?
Top 64 UK Nationals.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What did you play?
I played branded Despia.
Okay.
Do you want to get to it?
Let's get into it.
So first off, we have the free branded Albers, whatever it's called, the Despia monster. So don't need to explain it. Such as any branded spell trap, apart from this, which is such as a Despia spell trap, because it's a misprint. Card's broken. Searches anything you need, or it can do it in standby phase with branded opening. If it's in graveyard, it stops you from dying, because if your fusion monster gets out for any reason, you can just summon it and negate a monster. Happens in damage check usually, so they can't really do anything about it. Overall broken card, couldn't play less than 3, but no one playing this deck is playing less than 3. Despia monsters to Tragedy. This card is probably better than this one, to be perfectly honest, with the grand game. Just only 2 because I don't want to brick on them. This deck has a problem with bricking sometimes. We just get unplayable hands. But it's really good. I never really wanted 3. I felt 2 was good enough. I never really got to a point where I needed the 3rd one. But yeah, banish the spell and trap from grit. It banishes itself to reset Random Fusion, so your engine's self-recurring. That's the 2 obs. We got Ad Libitum. Card is busted. Frequently do the combo where you pull it away from hand, reborn your Mirror Jade and get Dragon Sepelli out of it. The attack gain effect is relevant against Atinista. It's the only way to out a 5k towers, but it's never happened and didn't come up. Dramaturge, because sometimes you just need game, and this card gives you game. It's got 3k body, it revives itself, it's just really good. It's an extra interruption. That's all the Despia monsters. That's the perfect ratio, I think. Freefall and Valbaz. This card's pretty good. It comes up sometimes where you normal summon it. You kind of want 3 because if they Ash Brand Fusion, you want a poly to make a Libellion or Albion that way. Pretty good. Maybe we'll play less though. I think 3 is probably too many. It never really came up, right? I was needed 3. 2 chain. I don't think this is the correct ratio. I'd rather play 3. But yeah. Can brick. The worst hands you'll get in this deck are where you open chain and patchwork, because that can't make Chimera. And chain's a really good card to discard Libellion, but if you're not discarding it, it's kind of awful. But patchwork is so broken, you have to play at least 2. You want to be able to resolve it after you just search it. Hand traps. Free Ash. Standard. I wanted to beat the mirror. It's pretty bad hand trap most of the time, to be honest. It doesn't do enough against any deck that's not Despia. But I was kind of worried for Despia. I shouldn't have been. Smashed every Despia mirror apart from the last one. 1 Veiler. Now, this is a cross-out target, because I'm playing cross-out my main, and I didn't want to get Veiler on Libellion. Spice. I'm playing 2 Kaijus.
What made you want to play Kaijus?
So punk decks are very, very prevalent right now, and they're very hard to stop because they sometimes end on Herald, which makes droplets awful. So I'm playing Kaijus because as my first action, I can Kaiju Hulk or Kaiju Hot Red, depending on what version they're playing. And then their combo is completely done because this is a level 7, not level 8. So it ruins Baron plays, it ruins everything, they can't respond to it, and it's a dark so I can lure it away, or a confusion with it if I don't need it. Didn't brick me because I never drew it. 1 Snow because Snow's broken. This is probably one of my favorite cards in the game. Second only to Shadowll Construct, and Shadowll Construct's good because you can send this. This card's broken. You always send it if you on your second round of fusion, pretty much, because it gives you game. Good interruption going into it. Fusion do it a few times. Pretty good card. Spells, random fusion. I don't need to explain this card. This card is broken. It's the only good card of the deck. Quote me on that. This card gets Ash 9 times out of 10, but if it resolves, you're probably winning the game.
That is true.
Yeah. Free opening, card's busted. You do it during standby phase, discard card. Sometimes the discard is more relevant to summoning effect. And frequently I discard a card to add to my hand to use a Lure of Darkness to banish it. That's a play I did a lot of time. The banish from graveyard effect didn't come up much because most decks are playing shuffling removal such as Baxia or Bat Mirror Jade. But it does come up if opponents don't check your graveyard for early enough. Happens in a long tournament. Pretty good card. I mean, these ratios are pretty standard, so you don't play any less than that. 2 brown and red because you don't need the 3rd one. It's also bricky because you need a play to get started. You need a card in graveyard to get started. Pretty good. Wouldn't play more. 1 Theatre. Theatre's really good. Sometimes you need a poly to search, and this card is insane in the mirror. because once you add the Mirror Jade, they'll activate effect, and you can just activate this. And then during your end phase, for instance, in one of my matches, I summoned Quartus using Dramaturge and had this on using this. And during the end phase, Mirror Jade resolved, destroying my Quartus and my Dramaturge. Quartus summon triggered the summon, and this triggered the summon because the non-fairy fusion was destroyed, and I could revive my Quartus. I had that beat for the mirror. Really good card. Really good card. Would I definitely play one? I tested out one, and I wanted it back. Free patchwork because this card's broken. It's a +1. It's pot agree better. Drew many dead ones. Probably should play more chains. 2 poly because poly is absolutely broken in this deck. It makes Chimera. Chimera is a pretty good card last time I heard. Yeah, best start as well. 3 droplets because I didn't want to lose going second. You can discard chain to trigger its effect. You can discard cards to get Brandon Red live. It's a very terrible interruption, but it comes up sometimes. It's yeah, pretty good. Wouldn't play this deck without droplets, to be honest. You'll just lose. Because I didn't win a die roll again all day. Free cross out because Random Fusion's really good when it resolves, and everyone's playing Ash in the deck, and I didn't want to get my Random Fusion Ash. Good in the mirror, which is good because I played a lot of mirrors. Didn't draw this in the mirror though.
Ouch.
I did droplets. I did cross out droplets a few times though, because no one ever no one expects that to happen. Really good card. Definitely maining was the correct choice. What else got 1 cold buy, card shoe banned, as everyone on every deck profile says. I don't need to explain why. Free allure for consistency. You can also plus sometimes with Banishing Tragedy. Side these out most times because I was afraid of anti-spell. 1 impermanence cross that target. And the second best card in the deck, which is this card. This card is utterly insane. It's the new card from Dimension Fusion. This is super poly. Most of the time in my Despia mirrors, I would set this off Albion, activate it, revive my Alba, fusion their monsters away, and then I get Alba trigger, and then I'd reset it for next turn. It's utterly insane. There are people not maining this, and I can understand that, but I think I won all the Despia mirrors apart from the last one, where I bricked, because that card was in my main deck. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So what was your extra deck?
Extra deck, pretty standard. So we got Lebellion. 2 is the correct ratio, don't need more. 2 Mirror Jade, again, 2 is the correct ratio, you don't need more. I mean, everyone knows what these cards do, they're utterly broken. 2 Albion. 3 didn't come up. I don't think you need 3, you can always put it back with Lebellion, like on your next turn. And I had other cards to play. Renatus, because I wanted Dragon Link to be absolutely free. Didn't play in Dragon Link, but it would have been free if I played against it, because I would have just set my Albaz, summon this. The multiple attack thing did come up once to clear a board, but honestly this card's pretty bad. Yeah, there are better cards to play, but I'm not playing Mercuria, I'm not playing the Lost package, so Brigand becomes a lot worse, and so does the Machine one. I'm not playing the Lost package because it's pretty bad. It bricks you a lot. Lost isn't good in this format. If you activate Lost, they're going to Scythe Lock you, or they're going to negate the Brand Fusion with Regulus, which doesn't negate activation, just negates effects. Lost, I feel, was just awful. I didn't like drawing Kit, I didn't like drawing Mercuria, I didn't like drawing Lost, I didn't like anything. One could argue it made me lose a bit of consistency, which is why I bricked a bit, but I wouldn't play it. 1 Titanic Lad, because it's the only fusion you can make with M-Pen, and I really don't like Flunderies. Do I? Can't do it in the Barry statue, but it doesn't matter. It also summons Albaz in it. And it's a secret rare, which is good with Poggers. 2 Masquerade, because 2 Masquerade is an FTK and 3 is redundant. Pretty good. The revive effect comes up to not die. 1 Quartus, this card is literally the best card in extra deck. It's not Mirror Jade. This card wins you the mirror. It makes you not die. Half the games I won that I shouldn't have won, I had this card because they couldn't out it without fluttering its floating effect, and it floats into Albaz or Alba, both of which you need on the spot. Card's utterly insane. I made it 4 more times than I should have because I love it so much. But it is really good. 2 Chimera, 3 never comes up. You need the second one because the second one does come up. Really good. Untargetable is very relevant in this format with Shishao negating things. It got droplets a lot. It got deburied for one time. Yeah, really good card. It's being very big is also relevant because it can beat over your opponent. 3k is a pretty average stat line in this game, so 3/3 means it beats everything. Plus this plus Adlib beats 4k at Ignista.
Plus can't be targeted in Poly's engrave.
Yeah, very good effect, very relevant. Dragon's Despia. This card gets worse every time I read it. It doesn't negate only all effects, only negates activate effects. So like you can do this on access code, still has the attack. It's just like if they banish access code, it doesn't have a predator counter on it, so it's bad. This card is just awful, but you have to play it. Side deck.
Side deck.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
So side deck. I'll just put it like this. Free Nibiru. Nibiru is quite a good hand trap. This hand trap. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything on its own, which is the bad part about it. You need 2 to beat the Punk Ferran deck, and like you can't draw that many hand traps in this deck. So yeah, it's not particularly great. It's pretty good against like decks where they open bad. You can just put this in your side deck. It's good against rogue combo decks. Like it's not the best card, but it's okay. Wouldn't mean it. Free Dark Ruler no more because I'm scared of Punk Ferion, I'm scared of Punk Synchro, I'm scared of pretty much every combo deck because I can't play hand traps because my deck does not like them. Hand traps you can't play a lot of hand traps in this deck. There's no space for it and you'll brick if you do. So yeah, I played Free Dark Ruler to combine my droplets so I could actually out their unoutable boards. Card was pretty good, but I did get anti-spelled a lot, so kind of might have been a bit bad there. I really, really hate Flunderies. And this card, this is how you win. Like, if you go first in the Flunderies match, you never lose because you just do this. And they can't beat it. It also hurts Dragon Link, hurts Sword Soul. Less so much because Sword Soul can activate the shooter. But, you know, you're never activating this throughout the bat. You're always waiting to go into play to commit to it before you activate this because this is a quick effect. And you can send off Random Fusion, which is why it's on my deck. 2-token Collector, because I don't really respect Sword Soul as a matchup. I think the deck's free. Side in Nibiru, side in this, going second. That's all I really care about because I have this and I have Nibiru, they lose. This card never came in all day because I didn't play a Sword Soul. 1 red reboot because I hate trap decks and didn't activate it. So here's the controversial thing. I'm only playing 1 D barrier, and specifically for a crosshair target. I always side this in going second. Should I have played free? Probably yes, because some people win if they have more D barriers in this matchup, but it is what it is. Probably should have played free. Yeah, but Crossout did it a lot, which is pretty good. The third Cosmic is not here. Yeah, but I played free Cosmic, out of back row decks, out everything else. It does outside fit out back row decks. You always side this in going second against Sword Soul because they're siding anti-spell for you. You need it. Drew it a few times, honestly, quite good. I also remember this is a 14 card extra deck. There's one last card that I forgot, which is Borrowed Furious Dragon, which is the fusion.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did it come up for you?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. So the idea behind that one is, you don't know, it's the fusion monster that it's the fusion that requires 2 dragons, and it can pop a monster you control, pop a card that control. And the reason you play it is if they rivalry lock you on Random Fusion. Since Mirror Jade's a worm, you can't make Mirror Jade, but if you're making Albion, you can summon it and then affect pop Albion, pop the rivalry.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It never came up because I never got rivalry locked on dragons. I got rivalry locked on fairies a lot though.
Oh.
Yeah, never came up, didn't summon it. It seems very good with like Lebellion. You know, because you can make Lebellion, banish it, then she'll back. But then you realise Lebellion's a light and you can't make with it. So make Furious Dragon with it. But yeah, it's pretty good. Didn't come up. Probably wouldn't play it. Probably play Priscali. This.
What are your matchups?
Matchups. First round, I went against Addict Mister, and I was like, oh, yep, got Kaiju's, should be easy. Brick both games. Second round was a bye. I got Skull Servants. Guy was really nice, but his deck was literally countered by Quartus, so couldn't win. Tri-Brigade, only time I Kaiju'd something, Kaiju'd the Appaloosa, then his deck was just not strong enough to put in interruptions. He asked to me, I crossed out it, so like, he couldn't win. The deck wasn't strong enough to beat Despia at full power. Round 4 was Punk Synchro. I lost because I bricked again. I didn't play a single card. See a pattern. I didn't play a single card in both of those games. Yeah, round 5, Despia, beat that. Round 6, Despia, beat that. Round 7, Flunderies, beat that. Guy just couldn't beat my engine game 1, then bricked game 2. So it is what it is. Then I went to day 2. Day 2 was, oh, actually, I did play Sword Soul. It was round 8. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I lied. This did come in. I discarded off Rebellion. Fun times. Yeah. Guy got beaten because game 1 I went first. I did win a die roll. I won. Yeah, I won 1 die roll. I won that. Went first. Can't break the board. Game 2. I think he had like Baron free. He actually had Baron, Shishao free anti spells.
What?
So I Cosmic 1. There's like, yes, feeling good about it. This was the second one. It wasn't particularly great. But I beat him game 3 because my engine's like Sword Soul, you manage for shooter, they can't do anything really against your engine. You have too many interruptions. The normal summon decks don't do very good against this deck. If you have to stick a normal summon, it's not sticking. Then went to Eldritch. Won round 1 because he just hadn't have enough traps to stop me. There was no floodgate. It's just like interactive traps, and you can't trade 1 for 1 with this deck. It will just out advantage you every time because all my cards float and all my cards get advantage in the end phase. Then it was game 2. I got Rival Royal Upton Fairies, made a small misplay and lost that game. But game 3 went first. Set on my board, can't break it. Got Lava Gold, I think. Maybe. Nah. I think I got Lava Gold. It doesn't matter. Didn't win. I won that one. So then again, top 64. Went against Despia. Game 1, he does adventure stuff because he's playing the adventure engine. I activate Lower Darkness. See, I have no docks in my hand, so I discard my hat so I scoop. Yeah. Game 2, I script again. I have 2 Ash Blossoms though, which is really good in the matchup. Set a card, pass. He Brand Fusions, I Ash it, and yep, sets 2 cards, passes, draw a turn, opening Alba. I'm feeling so good about myself. I've got my Brand Fusion now, debarry. So that was awful. So then I set my Brand in red and pass turn. He gets my Alba, and then I believe he's just stuck for a turn. I Brand in red, summon my Chimera. He lets the Chimera through and dimensional barriers the Chimera's effect, which was a really good play by him because it means I committed all my resources to the Chimera, and then I just top 6 Brand Fusion, it's over.